How did a total nobody make and keep the largest empire in history? In this episode, a child whose father was murdered, abandoned, and cast out by his clan chief, recovered, conquered, created, and led the largest empire in human history. Then he gains the title ruler of all under the sky. He then goes on to direct the course of history. It's the Global History Show with Mr. Benjamin. This episode, the Mongol Empire.
Yippee! So excited! It's Global History Show.
Learning targets for this episode. By the end of this episode, you will say, I can describe the geographic and historical circumstances of the Mongol Empire. I can explain how Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan gained, consolidated, and maintained power. I can trace the effects of Pax Mongolia on history. Genghis Khan started in the worst place with the least advantages. Fierce competition for resources resulted in constant wars between the Mongol clans and with neighboring tribes. In the 1100s, the Mongols were nomadic herders who roamed the steppes of northern Asia.
The steppes are rugged grasslands. Nomadic means to move from place to place without permanent settlements.
The Mongols did not farm, did not have writing. The steppe had short summers and little rainfall. To create the largest empire in the world, you take it step by step. Genghis Khan was born Temujin, the son of a Mongol clan chief. After his father was murdered by a rival tribe, he was part of a small group cast out by the new clan chief. Genghis Khan survived to adulthood, then forged an alliance with the father of his wife to combine forces and conduct a raid on another tribe, one that will rescue his abducted bride. The raid is successful, and Genghis goes on to make many more alliances and lead many more successful raids. Mongol!
Yippee! So excited!
More and more Mongol clans flock to join Genghis Khan. Caw-caw! Caw-caw! In this way, he unites the Mongol clans and becomes their leader. This is when he takes the name Genghis Khan, which means ruler of everything under the sky. If anyone can, Genghis Khan. 6 ways an outnumbered band of barbarians conquered multiple advanced civilizations. Number 1. The Mongolian herders had great skill at horse riding and archery. They combined this ability with the use of the new stirrup and saddle, new technology, which left their hands free to shoot their bows while riding. These rugged warriors on horseback conquered the plains. Why couldn't Genghis Khan understand what his pony said? Because his pony was a little horse. Why couldn't Genghis Khan understand what his horse told him? Because horses don't speak Mongolian. Number 2. Genghis Khan absorbed conquered opposing armies, spreading them among his loyal Mongol warriors. 3. Promotions were based on merit, ability, instead of inherited family importance. Number 4. Not knowing how to successfully attack fortifications, the Mongols interrogated captured generals and engineers from China and Persia to find out how to do so. They also incorporated these military leaders and engineers into their military.
Fortifications means walled cities.
5. The Mongols adapted using gunpowder, cannons, and siege equipment and conquered the fortified cities of China. 6. The Mongols threatened those who resisted their takeover with massacres. They cultivated a fierce reputation by following through on this threat. The Mongols were responsible for genocidal massacres.
A genocide is the attempted eradication, murder, of an identified group.
This reputation for barbarism resulted in many cities and kingdoms surrendering, submitting to Mongol rule without violence.
The Great Wall was built by China to keep out the northern barbarians, like the Mongols.
Story time. Genghis Khan brings his army to the Great Wall of China, tells the guards, "Open the gates, let my army through, and I will give you a chest of gold. If you resist, I'm going to kill all of you, and I'm going to kill everyone brutally in the nearby village where your families live." The guards let Genghis Khan and his army through. They take the chest of gold. Genghis Khan and his army go on to conquer all of China. The Great Wall of China failed to keep the northern barbarians out of China.
Mongols!
Yippee!
How did Genghis Khan keep his empire? The Mongols were tolerant rulers. Conquered people were allowed to maintain their own cultural practices, like religion. They were religiously tolerant. These tributary states needed to pay yearly taxes and refrain from waging war on territories conquered by the Mongols.
A tributary state is a conquered kingdom that must pay taxes, tribute, to the conquering ruler.
I'll volunteer as tribute. This helped the Mongols to maintain control over conquered people and, ironically, brought a period of peace and increased trade. Some people toppled their local rulers, who were often cruel and had high, unequal taxes. Some people preferred Mongol rule. Genghis Khan appointed local nobles to rule the tributary states for him. Genghis Khan imposed strict military discipline and demanded absolute loyalty. Story time. The Mongols were laying siege to a walled city, and the region was infected by the plague. The Mongols took bodies of plague victims and catapulted them over the city walls in an early use of germ warfare. Just because you Genghis Khan doesn't mean you Genghis should. When Genghis Khan died, his sons and daughters inherited the empire, continuing Mongol conquests. One of Genghis Khan's grandsons, Kublai Khan, became the Grand Khan. He inherited the most prosperous part of the Mongol Empire, the part that included the capital of the Mongol Empire in present-day Mongolia, and the wealthiest part, China. Instead of ruling China as a tributary state and demanding yearly taxes, Kublai Khan ruled China directly from within China. Knock, knock. Well, who's there? Daisy who? They see me rolling into China. Kublai Khan married a Chinese princess and set up the Yuan dynasty. Yuan dynasty? Hey, princess, you want to get married?
The Yuan dynasty is the Mongol dynasty that ruled over China.
Kublai Khan twice invaded Japan. The first invasion using the Chinese Navy was thwarted by a typhoon or a hurricane, which sank many of their ships. The Japanese called the typhoon a kamikaze storm after the Shinto spirit of the wind, kamikaze.
Shintoism is a Japanese religion that includes the belief in spirits of nature.
The second invasion may have failed due to sabotage of the ships built by Korean shipbuilders, though the Japanese credit the kamikaze with saving them again. Genghis Khan's Mongol Empire had a great impact on history. The Mongol Empire impacted Russia. The Mongol Golden Horde, named for their golden-colored yurts, conquered Moscow and Russia.
A yurt is a tent house.
Did you know you can't run past yurts? You have to ran past yurts because it's past tense. The Mongols ruled Russia for 250 years. Russia, being part of the Mongol Empire, was isolated from Western Europe. Mongol rule of Russia resulted in Russia missing out on advancements of the Renaissance. The Mongol Empire forced peace upon the scope of the empire. Historians call this Golden Age period the Pax Mongolia, a reference to the Golden Age of Rome, the Pax Romana.
The Pax Mongolia is a time of peace and prosperity, when great achievements are made a golden age.
The Mongols encouraged trade. They set up patrols of the Silk Road, ending bandits.
The Silk Road was a series of trade routes connecting China to India, Persia, and Rome.
Chinese sources said a man could travel the length of the Silk Road with a gold plate on his head without any worries. Mongol rest stops were placed a day's journey from one another along the Silk Road with fresh horses. The Silk Road trade was revived, increasing contact between groups. Italian merchant Marco Polo became a prisoner and an advisor to Kublai Khan, and he wrote a journal of his time in Kublai Khan's court. Marco Polo's journal sparked European interest in trade and exploration, leading to the Age of Exploration. The Silk Road connected India, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe to China. Chinese achievements spread to Europe and helped to end the Middle Ages and usher in the Renaissance and the Age of Exploration.
Mongol!
The Chinese telescope spread to Italy, where Galileo Galilei used it as a tool of the scientific revolution. Chinese woodblock printing spread to Europe and was improved by Johann Gutenberg to create the movable type printing press, making possible the rapid spread of ideas. Gunpowder and cannons spread from China to Arabia and Europe. Cannons made castles ineffective. The compass, culturally diffused from China to Europe, made transatlantic voyages possible. The increased connectedness was a vector for the spread of the Black Death and bubonic plague. This disease was carried by fleas on rats, or possibly hamsters. The rodents hitched a ride on trade carts and ships that traveled between Canton, Mogadishu, Cairo, and Venice. 30 to 50% of Europeans died of the Black Death, creating a labor shortage contributing to the end of feudalism. The fall of the Mongol Empire. In the 1300s, the Mongol Empire declined. The empire was too expansive to maintain. After Kublai Khan, weak leaders failed to maintain the empire. Throughout the empire, people who recognized weakness and an opportunity for change rebelled against having foreign rule. Russia returned to Tsarist rule. China returned to dynastic rule. Mongolian rule only survived in India's Mughal Empire and in the steppes of Asia. I do not have the plague. I always look like this. Catapulting me into your enemy's city is not going to help your conquest.
It's a